What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you, back on FantasyPros with a 10-team full PPR mock where we will have the 10th overall pick right in the final slot. Should be pretty interesting. Our roster: 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, and then 5 bench spots. So that's pretty much it. Let's get right into it. And while we wait for this thing to load, quick reminder, if you guys enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, and give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear in the comment section your thoughts along with any other questions you guys might have. We will do our best to answer them all. And lastly, make sure to check out the 2022 ADP Fantasy Football Draft Guide, available for purchase. Everything you can want at a great value. Top 150 overall, player rankings, the standard and PPR formats, individual player bios, tiers, projections, along with general fantasy advice. The details in the description. But with that being said, let's get into it. The first 9 picks have been made. So let's look at the draft board really quickly here and kind of comment on some of these selections. So first you see Jonathan Taylor, then Cooper Kupp, really early for Cooper Kupp at the 102, when guys like Christian McCaffrey and Austin Eckler are there. But for what it's worth, Cooper Kupp probably in 80 to 90% of leagues that are full PPR will be a top 4 or a top 5 selection. So again, nothing too crazy yet. Then we see Derrick Henry, Najee Harris, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, and DeAndre Swift. Absolutely zero issues with the way this thing has played out right now. I think it's probably pretty accurate in all honesty. I would have drafted Dalvin Cook a little bit earlier, but again, that's personal preference. Let's look at our cheat sheet here. We've got some important decisions to make, so we can go a lot of different ways. We could go 2 running backs immediately off the bat, somebody like a Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara. We could go wide receiver. We could go with a Jamar Chase. We could go with a Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams. We could go with the tight end and Travis Kelce. So right now, when I'm looking at this and I'm thinking what I want to do, I'm probably going to pass on Travis Kelce. I'm really tempted by some of these running backs and these wide receivers. I know one of these picks is going to be a running back because I want to get a top tier, like top 10 type of running back talent and prospect, somebody that can easily finish in the top 10, essentially. I'm looking at it, and I think with a suspension for Alvin Kamara probably not happening this season, I'm going to be drafting him here. And then the only other thing I have to decide, do I want to go with a wide receiver to kind of balance out the team at that position, or do I want to go with another running back in like a Saquon Barkley or an Aaron Jones? So let's see. We've got our back-to-back picks. Again, we've got the final selection here. We unfortunately don't have the advantage of being in the middle of the draft where one of these guys could potentially fall to us. But it is what it is. Since this is full PPR, Joe Mixon, I'd rather pass on him. I'm going to go with Alvin Kamara, like I mentioned before, and then probably Saquon Barkley or Aaron Jones. So let's see. Let's add Alvin Kamara here to the list. Now, don't get me wrong, Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, very tempting. But I want to get the running back difference makers now in case there is a run at the position. And I do want to try and make this a little bit more realistic. And I would say in the majority of your leagues, you're probably going to have those running back runs. And when you essentially have to wait 20 picks until your next selection, that position can dry up. Now, for what it's worth, there are guys that I really like their ADP, like Travis Etienne, Ezekiel Elliott. If they were able to fall to me, we could potentially get steals there. Let's see where they rank here, what the chances are. So, Ezekiel Elliott comes in at the number 33 spot. Technically, it'd be right around his ADP there. All right, you know what? Let's gamble. I'll pivot a little bit here. I'll go with the wide receiver, and then if Ezekiel Elliott and Travis Etienne are there for me in the 3rd and 4th round respectively, then we go with them. And now this is PPR. I know that suggestions here say go with Jamar Chase. In PPR, I don't know how you can't take Stephon Diggs ahead of Jamar Chase. I think he's going to see more volume. I think he's going to see more targets. Just everything that really matters. And I just believe in that offense more, in the quarterback more. So that's what it boils down to me. Now, looking at these next couple of picks, what happened? So after we went Alvin Kamara and Stephon Diggs, Travis Kelce, yes, we could have gone with Kelce. It was definitely a possibility, but I decided we want to go running back for sure, and then either another running back or wide receiver. That's what we did. Then goes Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb. I wouldn't have Nick Chubb this high in a full PPR setting, especially with Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley, Leonard Fournette, all still available, even Ezekiel Elliott. So that's my one qualm with this. Devontae Adams goes. Javonte Williams shouldn't be drafted ahead of Aaron Jones or Saquon Barkley. After Aaron Jones, tremendous value at the 208. Deebo Samuel, Josh Allen with the last pick in the second round. Typically, he's going in like the third round, but there will be situations where you see a quarterback at the end of the second round, especially if it's the top quarterback in Josh Allen. Then Mark Andrews, the second tight end, CeeDee Lamb, Mike Evans. There goes Saquon Barkley at the 304, tremendous value. A couple months ago, Saquon Barkley, you could easily get him in the third round. Again, this is a 10-team league, so when you kind of look at it that way, I guess that makes a little bit more sense. But his ADP has been rising. I was contemplating taking him at the start of the second round, so you're going to be seeing that as well. Then you see Tyreek Hill, Leonard Fournette drops to the 306, very good value. There was a run on some wide receivers, that made that possible. Mark Andrews, Josh Allen, Cam Akers at 308. I disagree with that vehemently. Ezekiel Elliott is there, Travis Etienne is there. Give me those guys ahead of Cam Akers. Then Keenan Allen just went. So honestly, we played this perfectly. Sure, maybe we got a little bit lucky, but Ezekiel Elliott's still on the board. Travis Etienne still on the board. I said if both those guys were available, they would be my no-brainer picks. So let's go with Ezekiel Elliott immediately. He's going to be our first selection, and then we will go with Travis Etienne as well. So our starting running backs, Alvin Kamara, Ezekiel Elliott, Travis Etienne. We've got depth at that position. If something does happen to Alvin Kamara, in the middle of the season, so, if that suspension, because right now the suspension with Alvin Kamara probably, definitely won't happen at the start of the season. If it does happen in the middle point or at the end, I still don't think it'll be a long one, but we've got Zeke, we've got Travis Etienne. It's a good situation. Now we can start to add depth at the other positions, tight end, wide receiver, etc. So after our selection of Zeke and Etienne, let's break it down. You see Deontay Johnson, T. Higgins, Kyle Pitts, Patrick Mahomes, David Montgomery, Pittman, good value on him there, DJ Moore, James Conner at the 409, tremendous value, Antonio Gibson, DK Metcalf, Justin Herbert, our third quarterback off the board here. Again, this is why I always say, even though Josh Allen is going to be the first quarterback to go, whether it's in the second, third round, Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert steer in the tier one category of quarterbacks, and you can get them easily 2 to 3 rounds later. Why would you take Josh Allen when you can do that? The separation won't be that much. Then Jalen Waddle, huge run on the wide receivers. Waddle, Mike Williams, Terry McLaurin, Brendan Cooks, Jerry Jeudy, Marquise Brown, Darren Waller. So here, I have a pretty clear-cut idea of what I want to do. I'm not going to be going running back. I want to go wide receiver with one of these picks, and that wide receiver is going to be undoubtedly Allen Robinson. I love his upside at this point in time. Now here we could also go a tight end, and I believe George Kittle is available. I think that's a really good value here to get one of the top 5 tight ends, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Getting those positional advantages to remind you guys of our squad: Kamara, Zeke, we have Stephon Diggs, we have Allen Robinson, Travis Etienne. Let's add George Kittle. Quarterback, maybe somebody like a Lamar Jackson is definitely tempting here, but I think that position is much, much deeper than a tight end position, and I think George Kittle is more of a sure thing. So I like the logic there to go with the tight end, and from here on out, let's just kind of see what happens. And now it turns into, let's just go best player available, continue to add depth, and take it one pick at a time. So after our George Kittle pick, you see Breece Hall, Lamar. I knew that was going to happen. Josh Jacobs, Chris Godwin. Running quarterbacks: Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray here. Dalton Schultz was drafted. J.K. Dobbins, Amari Cooper. Dobbins could potentially be a good value. Definitely much more so in standard formats, but it all matters if he's healthy. Then DeAndre Hopkins, Amon-Ra, Cortland Sutton, Dak. Michael Thomas was a good value. Darnell Mooney was a good value. Elijah Mitchell, Gabriel Davis, and Russell Wilson. So let's see what's left at the wide receiver position. I believe Rashad Bateman should still be there. Yeah, Rashad Bateman is still there. Juju Smith-Schuster is still there. Both guys that I really, really like. They're probably going to be my next 2 picks. I'm looking at running back. There's nothing that I necessarily love right now. So quarterback, I can easily continue to wait for. I've got the tight end taken care of. So yeah, I think we've done a very good job here of circumnavigating a situation with a 10-team league where we have the last overall pick and where we went, didn't necessarily go running back heavy in the first 2 rounds. So here I'm going to go Rashad Bateman. Then I'm going to go Juju Smith-Schuster. So adding the depth at the wide receiver position, very, very important. We've already got one top 5 guy, arguably, in Stephon Diggs. I really like Allen Robinson. Upside guys in Bateman and Juju Smith-Schuster. Our running backs, Alvin Kamara, Zeke, Travis Etienne, I think all those guys can be top 15, especially in PPR formats. I've said it before, Zeke last year was not playing healthy. Everybody has admitted it. He's going to be the workhorse for the Cowboys. Just tremendous, tremendous upside. Quarterback, we still have a lot of names that are available. Let's look at our cheat sheet here. Tom Brady, Stafford, Trey Lance, Derek Carr. I love all those options. Looking at, now at the running back position, there's some actually good value. We've gotten to what is let's see, I've even lost track what round this is, the 9th round, and guys like A.J. Dillon are still available. So the reason that happened is because there was a huge run on wide receivers here. Renfro, Elijah Moore, Thielen, Devonta Smith, Alan Lazard, guy I really like here, Tyler Lockett, Dre London, Brendan Ayuk, and then a huge run on tight ends, Hawkinson, Goddard, Knox, Ertz, Gesicki. I mean, that's what happens, I'd say this is a pretty realistic draft so far. Honestly, I would. So nothing too big to nitpick. I'm going to go with the running back position here. I'm going to just add depth. A.J. Dillon, definitely huge, huge upside if something happens to Aaron Jones. And, just intriguing. Right now, just a good value. So let's add him to the squad. Let's go A.J. Dillon. And honestly, there's still some really, really good value picks at the running back position. Kareem Hunt, Tony Pollard. I could go Tony Pollard as a handcuff to Ezekiel Elliott. That's something to think about. Kareem Hunt, is he going to get traded? Won't he get traded? I bet he doesn't. He's probably the better value pick right now. I'll go with Kareem Hunt. So let's add him, get some depth there. And then we will add a final, maybe even go with a double quarterback type of situation here. We've built depth at the running back position. If Melvin Gordon was still there, I would have drafted him. Wide receiver, I like our depth. So here, I'm going to go with my typical, high upside quarterback selection, and then just one quarterback that I really like. I'm going to go with Trey Lance as the huge dart throw upside that somebody would potentially pay a decent price for, and then our safe quarterback, either Matthew Stafford or Derek Carr, very high in both of them. Matthew Stafford is dealing with that elbow potential injury, but I'm not too worried at this point in time. I still think, I've got Trey Lance here. I'll add Matthew Stafford as a backup. If it wasn't Stafford, I'd go Derek Carr. I think Brady regresses a little bit. So I'm going to go with Matthew Stafford, and then let's see what draft grade I get. But I think I'd say it's a high one. And FantasyPros couldn't disagree more. And I couldn't disagree more with FantasyPros here because I think we did a really good job, all things considered. We had the final pick, so we had to keep that in mind, potentially circumnavigate situations like that. But maybe just FantasyPros wasn't as high on some of these players as I was. But, Alvin Kamara, Zeke, and Travis Etienne, tremendous trio of running backs, all top 15 upside. Stephon Diggs, top 5 wide receiver. Allen Robinson, huge value on ADP. And then we got a really good depth with Rashad Bateman and Juju Smith-Schuster. And then we got A.J. Dillon and Kareem Hunt. Great upside and depth at the running back position. I think we get an A grade there. Wide receiver, maybe a B+, but still, we got George Kittle, a top 5 tight end. Really good there. We got upside with the quarterback position and depth, Lance and Stafford. So I think, honestly, this is a B+ A type of draft. But, hey, let me know your thoughts in the comment section, along with any other questions you guys might have. I'll do my best to answer them all. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe. Give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. And lastly, make sure to check out the 2022 ADP Fantasy Football Draft Guide. All the details in the description. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.